project, MetaBomber.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, just tell me
I,
when you start recording.
yeah.
And
So just obviously, I appreciate the opportunity to come on here. Obviously, to discuss everything with the and share all the information about the project. Okay.
I'll just start.
Um,
MetaBomber. I've just got to start. I don't have a bit of spiel at the start. So
there you
yeah,
go.
welcome,
Crack on. I'm
welcome to the
stealing your thunder.
no, welcome to the Welcome and Talk community. Tonight we have an AMA with Bomber, MetaBomber, and here to speak about the project is MetaMan. So yeah, if we could just start maybe with the core team's background and experience with crypto, MetaMan, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I say, I'm looking forward to obviously sharing, answering questions about the project MetaBomber. I'm one of the core team members. My background is sort of strategies and sort of business consultancy. Actually, many years I've traded crypto, even up until today. But my main background, I was running the funds for various family offices. So I used to deal sort of predominantly with sort of equities before crypto was a big thing. And, I used to wake up in the morning at, it could be 4 o'clock, start with the sort of Hong Kong markets, move on to London, finish off with New York. So, that's where my sort of love for the markets came from. It was sort of predominantly sort of IPO. So I was on the other side. I was the one listening basically to the pitch. Now, in terms of obviously the space, I still see sort of BSC as it's in its sort of infancy. Even 2 years ago, it was like sort of 40x BNB since then. So it's pretty fresh, it's pretty new, but it's pretty much for everyone. And obviously with sort of BSC fund tokens, and obviously as we've seen, it's come to light. Metaverse is obviously being established, so that's making it for sort of everyone in the sort of centralized world too. You've got big brands going in, Adidas, Nike, even some of the banks like KPMG will picking up land and moving in. Now, for us, a few months ago, we sort of sat down and discussed how to be different. I was actually away at the time. I always go away around Christmas time, take the kids, chase the sun. But I was lying there. We were talking about how we're going to do this in terms of moving forward. If we're going to launch, and as you said, obviously the space is getting busier now because sort of springtime is where it all kicks off. We're watching the charts, and obviously sort of BTC and BNB was pretty much started its bit of a downtrend around November time. But obviously that accumulation phase has been going on till around now. So the idea was, what can we do? And sort of dogs, cats, even now apes was out the question. But obviously with moving forward, sort of play to earn and NFTs were a must. So that's when we created MetaBomber.
Okay, great. Yeah, I had a play of the game actually when I was researching the project. I couldn't wait to play level 2. That's coming in the future. It reminded me of Bomberman. You remember the old Bomberman, and actually they updated it in 2017. It sold 2 million copies, so the retro gaming is still really cool. So yeah, if we could go into it for the investors, how the game plays out, and when you're expanding, how many levels you're going to be making, and yeah, that sort of.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of obviously the game, I think it was important to look at different sort of aspects. Obviously, it's a sort of known fact that in sort of current times, like technology is at the forefront, isn't it? Obviously, you've got things like your sort of social media, streaming, podcasts, online gaming. As I mentioned before about the internet, I'm a bit of a gamer myself. Don't think there's any sort of age limit to it. But obviously, we're all starting to see sort of blockchain-based gaming sector is really it's going to be absolutely huge. And obviously, we want to tap into that sort of market share before it explodes. But if you go back to it, technology, whilst it's unparalleled right now with obviously sort of VR and everything, as you said, we want to sort of shift the idea back in time. A couple of reasons for that. sort of 8-bit, 2D, and sort of pixelated images is working really well with NFTs. So we wanted to sort of merge the two together, not just obviously because it works and it's probably easier to design than doing the 3D, but obviously there's a lot of nostalgia that goes behind that. And as you say, you know, in 2017 sold 2 million you know, downloads or copies. So what that says is that's not all crypto, you know, that's a sort of centralized world. So that's a, you know, I think that's important to sort of tap into that basically. Now, obviously, we've started developing it probably about 3 months ago. We're actually using a third party to develop it on the Unity engine, but we have got our own in-house project manager who's overseeing that 24/7. Now, as you mentioned, obviously you've been playing on it already, which is great. And in terms of the game, I don't know, I can't drop it in the poke. I don't think you can put any links in your chat right now, because I think it's obviously your writing message is closed. But if anyone wants to go on the game, if anyone, I think we posted it. It's on the website, so you can actually just click play the demo. Now, when we first brought the demo out a few days ago, actually, it was only available on browsers. There you go. Axis just posted it. So if anyone wants to have a go on there, you can obviously get a feel for the characters. They all have their own different bombs, and obviously the levels. Now, we could only use it on a browser, but now we can actually, we've added a controller, so you can actually play it on a mobile device as well. Obviously, the great thing is it's a reward game. It's pay to earn, so we're rewarding in the native token, but we're not actually our main, our secondary, should we say, you know, reflections is a passive income in US dollar tether. So I'll come to that. So you're actually earning. There's 2 types of rewards. So obviously you're earning a passive income as well as earning the M-bomb, which is our ticker for playing the game. Now, as I say, you mentioned about levels. So what we've done is going to be a story. So we want to sort of immerse everyone into a sort of fantasy world. And Meta is a sort of lead character in that. There's going to be 14 characters in total that we're gonna mint. Now each of they're going to have sort of rarities. Now those rarities are going to obviously decide, you know, the sort of strengths of each character, but also how much you're going to be able to earn sort of in game as well. Which is why it's going to make the NFT marketplace a bit more. It's going to make it more active, because, you know, you might have the rarest one and earn the most, you know, earn the most tokens via the gameplay, and that's going to be more sought after. So there's going to be a limited quantity. Now at this stage, obviously, while we're still in the development, we're obviously coming up with the numbers in terms of how many there's going to be for each one, because, you know, you don't want to, you know, cut 50,000 of each, because it'll be worthless basically. So we're coming up with it, what's going to work best. But obviously we wanted to get the demo out there so everyone gets a feel for what we're doing. I'll come to the roadmap later, but obviously we've got the various phases, and this is in part of phase 3. Again, as with anything, you know, that there's no time limit. You know, it can be done sooner, but it's got to be done right. It's got to be done bug free, and it's got to be, you know, secure in everything that we do. So we're going to bring a beta out soon, which might incorporate a couple of the levels, and basically that just means that we can at least, you know, it's a sort of trial and error then, isn't it? You know, people can start earning, but not complete the full story. So obviously we mentioned, you know, you said, you know, how many levels, etc. So there's two ways to play the game. There's going to be a story mode. So on the white paper, I don't know if anyone, again, it's on the website. So our white paper has full details about the game. So obviously, you know, a bit of introduction about it, and then obviously the story. So as I said about sort of immersing into sort of Meta's world, he is basically, I could say, a sort of happy little farm boy who was kidnapped by the evil professor. So him and his friends were all experimenting on, just normal kids, but they were all given sort of superpowers, but they managed to escape, the sort of horde of minions, but they couldn't take all the villagers with them. So obviously in story mode, it's, the players, the holders' job to go back and obviously defeat the professor. We're actually going to be building a series, like a cartoon series surrounding it as well. So it's not just a game, so people can actually, sort of, like I say, get into that fantasy world and, watch, new episodes of what's happening, but also play the game and, and feel like they're there. And like I say, like anything, who starts, does level 1 and 2 and then puts it down. It's, for me, we've got to remember it's still crypto, and it's all about, any token can get to sort of, 1 billion market cap. But the way to do it is it's about holding, but the way to keep people, it's about getting people engaged. So we've got the story mode, and we're also going to have the player versus player. So basically, it's going to be competitive. At the end of the day, you're seeing it in all the, you see it in Telegram groups. People get, really competitive. They want to come first. They want to go on the leaderboard. So we're going to have a player versus player mode, as well as obviously the story mode. There'll also be like an AFK mode, so people can, play it offline, kill enemies, also earn rewards that way as well. And then, as I say, once the marketplace and the game is together, we'll be able to trade the NFTs, because they might want to earn more tokens. Obviously, it's all going to be sort of stamina based. You can't be playing it every day, constantly. So we want to make sure that obviously we're looking after the chart and everything that we're doing. So yeah, that's the game in a bit of detail.
Awesome. And so with the NFTs, would you need to buy one to join the game, or is it free to play? How does it work for investors to play?
Yes.
MetaBomber?
Yeah, so it's free to play. You have to, I say free to play. You have to get a key, which basically it's only very, very low amount, like 100 MBOM tokens. You've got that on the white paper to unlock your beginning sort of hero to get you involved in the game. So we want to make sure, we don't limit it to anyone. It's like the rewards when I tell you about the, the passive income rewards. We're not having a minimum on that. You sort of, negates what we're all about, basically. One of the key things is, as I say, we don't just want to be just a hype token. We also want to engage, and we want to build a brand, with a really strong community, because at the end of the day, I've said it before, to get to the best, to be the best, you've got to have a strong community who are with you every step of the way. So putting sort of provisions and things that are going to impede that progress, basically. We want to make it for everyone, and people have a choice, don't they? And that's one of the things why, again, with some of the features, why we've done what we've done.
Yeah, with it being a P2E game, you're earning MetaBomber tokens, but also you get the passive income from the USDT, so you're increasing your bag to get passive income rewards in the MetaBomber token built into the tokenomics as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll explain my thinking behind that. Nothing wrong with reflections tokens. We've seen on the Save Moon days, but the thing is, you got let's say you got 100 million tokens one week, and you got 110 million the next. To get that 10 million, what have you got to do? You got to sell your tokens to see the rewards. And at the end of the day, they are great, but that's where my issue lies with that. Whilst your bag is growing, you're going to have to affect the chart just to see the rewards. At the end of the day, people have got, on the BSC, people got to eat, they've got sort of bills to pay, and that is understandable. So that's why with no minimum, we decided that holders, no minimum quantity required, will earn, the rewards every day. The good thing is, you can convert it, you can buy more MBOM, or they can sell the rewards. it's not part of the chart. You've been sent it separately. It's not going to hurt it. But I can pretty much assure anyone, that with enough rewards, you at least get your return on your initial investment, just from the rewards. And that's without doing anything. That's just for holding, basically. It's like anything, expect, there's going to be good volume at the beginning. And obviously we've got big marketing plans, so we want to keep that going. So people see the best of it.
Awesome, yeah. So with the NFTs, I think it's Heroes of the Boomland. I'm wondering how many you're looking at minting and what price it would be for investors.
Yeah, so again, it's still early days on that. It's under discussion. We're coming up with what is going to be best for everyone involved. How many there's going to be on sort of each rarity. So I don't have the actual answer for that, but obviously we're going to keep moving forward, keep announcing, and make decisions on what we think is going to be the best. It might be that we take a vote on which one becomes a certain, because which one becomes the rarest or the legend, within the community, they might be able to choose. It's something we've discussed, basically, and then we'll need to decide, because they've got to have an impact, they've got to have value, and we've got to make a decision. Where, if it's mythic, maybe there's only 6, maybe there's 10, but then common, there might be a couple of thousand of them. So there's things that we've talked about. We haven't put a price to it yet because we want to obviously make sure there is some sort of floor there going forward.
Yeah, great. And you're planning an NFT marketplace as well?
Yeah, so that's going to be important. So the marketplace is where holders will be able to obviously trade in an auction style sort of platform the NFTs. Now it's still under discussion whether we open up to sort of third party NFTs as well. That isn't just the sort of native Boomland heroes. Of course that would be great, because it's good for us as a project, because it brings in fees that can then be used to build up obviously even more MetaBomber. But initially it's going to be for trading the Boomland heroes, as you say, and like I say, at that point we're going to know how many of each one there is, and each one has their own stats, and then they're going to earn a certain amount of reward per day. So when I say, you might get a few goes a day until your stamina depletes. But if you've got a legend, you're going to be earning more M-bomb than you would if you had a common for doing the same thing, basically. And it's going to make it easier on certain levels to complete the level as well. So if so you're not stuck. I'm not saying you will be stuck, but you might not be the best at playing the game. And therefore you might not be the best with a common NFT, and therefore you're not progressing as fast as someone who's got an epic one, basically.
Yeah, and are you going to have like level ups for like the bombs where it would hit more squares? When I played, I think it was hitting 5 or 6 squares.
Like correct. Well, that's on there now as a sort of teaser, just to get an idea of how it's going to work. So you've got your level up, so obviously it will increase the distance of a bomb, and then you've got your power up, which is a sort of multiplier as well. Obviously increase the speed, so you can get out of dangerous situations, and then you can get obviously, which is a great one, because your lives are, once you run out of lives, that's it. That's it for the day. But we've also got one where you can actually get extra lives as well within the gameplay. Now, in terms of how much you're going to be rewarded, because as you probably played it, I can get up to like 150 score. We're working on at the moment a multiplier for that. So it might be that we add in, if you destroy all the sort of trees and the wood, then it also gives you score as well. But there'll be a multiplier to say, okay, so if I get a score of 150, based on my NFT rarity and based on etc., what there's going to be, you're not just going to get 150 M-bomb, because it's not even worth like, a point of a cent. So it's going to be a figure that we're putting together to make sure that, everyone enjoys it, but also sees the benefit of it.
Okay, great. Yeah. And are you planning any staking features in the project?
Not at present. Again, things can evolve. On the roadmap, we've got other things that we're looking to do in the future. One of them, obviously, we want to build a bridge over to ETH. Obviously, in terms of that opens the doors, because obviously we want to really focus on moving forward. Even obviously, the reason why we're starting with the word meta. So obviously, with having the bridge over to Uniswap, that's going to open a lot of doors to the ETH investors. Those guys have got a little bit more clout. No disrespect to anyone, any other, chain, but they invest a little bit bigger. So obviously, and it opens a few more doors into other avenues that we are looking at in the future. Again, it can be, in terms of staking. Again, it's a nice thing. I like staking. I've staked before. Not staking at the moment in any particular project, but I have, in good lockup periods, and you get nice rewards for it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And how does the tokenomics work for investors on the buys and sells? I know you've got USDT rewards as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of, let me just bring up the details. So I'll tell you about the distribution fees and then obviously the transaction fees. So obviously we've got a 1 trillion supply. Of that, we're actually locking the liquidity for 365 days, which is 27% of it. Okay. And one of the things for me is, and it's also one of the features about which I'll come to actually. I go on tangents. For the pre-sale, we've got 45% into the pre-sale. Now for the play to earn rewards. Now obviously this will engage once we do the full release. So we've looked at a number around 10%, which is the vested amount, and release 12.5% monthly. Gaming NFT development, 7.5%, and that again release 12.5% weekly, vested 8 times. Marketing 5%, team and advisors 3%, again vested amount, release 50% monthly, and we're looking at obviously CEX listings already, 2.5%, because going forward, one of the reasons to create something which is, like you say, a bit of nostalgia, bring the game out onto sort of that 8-bit world, is that we want to tap into the centralized world. Not everyone, obviously we're on the Pink Cell Launchpad, not everyone can use PancakeSwap or Trust Wallet. If you're, a lot of people just want to pay by a credit card, pay by a debit card, and just go straight onto, an exchange and buy the token. Obviously, it won't fulfill all of the things that we have, like the rewards, etc. But it will get the brand. It's about brand awareness, and then obviously people will be intrigued, and then obviously see the name, and then come down. Figure it out. We're going to have all the instructions on there anyway to buy. So it's it's like big marketing, isn't it? Sort of central exchanges. And then transaction fees. So this is what we've set. We've done a buy of 7%, of which, as we mentioned, the US dollar tether is 2%. We're putting 3% into marketing, and then liquidity is, or into the liquidity pool, is 2%, and then sell transactions are 10%, and again, so we'll put this out a little bit bigger, so 4% of that is the US dollar tether rewards, 4% into marketing, and then 2% into that liquidity pool.
Awesome. Yeah. So diamond hands are rewarded because they get higher USD rewards on the sells as well. That's great.
Yeah,
I'm wondering
exactly. And go on.
Sorry, yeah.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, one of the things on there, obviously I put in that, obviously I think it's important to have that 2% going into liquidity on the buy and sell. For me, we have it as a feature. We call it auto water, but everything known to man sort of requires water to survive. We're no different. Obviously the strong LPs can ensure sort of stable price chart. But as an investor as well, I believe it's sort of an attractive proposition as well, isn't it? If I go and look on different charts, I saw one the other day actually. It was like, I think it had like a 12 million market cap, but I think liquidity was like 200, 300,000. That's not for me. That ratio is too low. So a nice, high, strong ratio is obviously attractive as well to people searching for different projects.
It stabilizes the prices. Are you looking at what, 10-20% liquidity to market cap or something like that?
It's giving it closer to 30.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it stabilizes prices so there's not wild swings up and down when it's very low.
Exactly.
Yeah, big sells affect the charts. So are you planning an audit before launch or after launch? What's happening with the contracts?
100% the audit will be out before pre-sale. I was expecting it to come through today, but 100% the audit will be out. Obviously, we've done the KYC, but the smart contract audit and everything will 100% be out before the pre-sale. It may even get posted into the group tonight. So obviously that's a smart contract audit about all the line by line on the contracts, etc. I wanted it here before the AMA. I mean, for us, we actually, whilst we started doing this, the development phase, I think with the way, obviously, as you've seen with other tokens, because the markets are strengthening. I said a couple of weeks ago, I said by last Monday, I said if BNB crosses, I think I sent the message like 46.5, 47, then we're in a very good position. And it hit 46 on the same day I said it would. I'm not saying that I'm like got a crystal ball here or anything, but it's nice to see it. So we want to make sure that everything was sort of ready to go now.
Yeah, and the pre-sales in 2 days. That's on Pink Sale. What's the soft cap, hard cap, and is there going to be like whitelist spots still for investors to win?
Okay, so we've done it as a fair launch on Pink Sale. Okay, so as I mentioned, total supply. I've already gone through obviously the amount spending there for pre-sale, the lockup period. We've got 100 BNB soft cap. Okay, we're going to run it for 24 hours, and it's open. There's no limit basically. So we've not put a hard cap on. I've been researching a lot of projects over the last few months of what's working best in terms of, and there's no whitelist, there's no private sale either. So yeah, it's a risk, but we're doing a lot with marketing. We've actually put a lot in ourselves to make sure we have the best impact already. I'll come to a little bit about that. I don't know how a lot of people looking at it, this is the first project, so I don't know how someone can say this is going to be the hard cap, because you're sort of limiting people. I'm not a big fan from what I've seen of whitelists. Try to get into a couple myself, and the problem you got is people are competing to get into a whitelist, and then you might have some really nice, strong investors who are not able to participate because they don't want to compete. They don't want to do referrals or win competitions or whatever. But I'm not a big fan. So we've stayed away from it, basically. And so there isn't a white.
It probably works well with BNB going higher this week than not having a low hard cap. You might get a lot more investment, and then people complain if it's a low hard cap and BNB's pumping them, and you're only getting seconds.
Correct. I don't know how to sort of say, well, let's have it at 400 hard cap, 500, 600. It could, who knows? It's one of those things. It's like, who knows what it's going to be. So with yes, it's a chance, but I think we're pretty confident. We've had some good marketing. Community's been hyped. Obviously you guys been like this. 400. It's just crossed in the chat here. That's amazing.
Yeah, let's go into the marketing. What you've got planned after the launch around that area for the project.
Yeah. So obviously, sort of marketing in the space. It's sort of key driver. Whether that is sort of organic or paid. Basically, it is competitive out there, and I've seen it in projects I've invested in. You don't continuously sort of market to sort of build the brand. Investors, they're going elsewhere, aren't they? So we're ready for that. I think we've already started in a pretty big way. As I say, we had a budget that we all put on ourselves, so we've already started on obviously the PooCoin banner ads. That's obviously key to sort of BSC, but obviously we're bringing out a sort of play to earn game. We're trying to be a bit more clever in where we put the advertisements. So yeah, we've had Watch Guru PooCoin, but we've also had a lot of adverts running on places like playtoearn.net. We have some coin researchers sites, so like Coin Paprika. So we've had some YouTube influencers who have done some videos on us, some really cool, funny stuff as well. So we're trying to approach the marketing to get people from a certain sector as well. So we want people to fall in love with the game, basically, and we want people to invest in the token that then get addicted to obviously playing the game. And the way to do that was to sort of have key centric marketing, which is in the sort of sectors that we're looking at. Obviously, we want to have a successful launch, so post launch, and even for the pre-sale, it's about timing. So things like sort of call groups and collabs. We're talking about potential partnership as well post launch. So we want to show what we can do, and then jump into a partnership as well moving forward, so it can help us tremendously with the marketing. We've got our own specialists, and obviously we're all helping, we're all advising on what at the end of the day. I've got 200 DMs. Everyone wants to see the market. I've never seen anything like it. When you're bringing out a token here, it's the first time, and I must have about 200 DMs with offers for marketing. But there's certain criteria. We don't just want to do it anywhere just for the sake of it. We understand how to see what certain channels etc. are bossed or not, and make sure that when we do it and when we spend money on marketing, it's going to be impactful. And then in terms of obviously the community, I think it's about we're going to definitely actively engage. So whether that is obviously Twitter raids or whatever, and muting the group and making sure the biggest tokens out there, the ones that are the 100 million market caps. I'm going to say it. Your baby doges and safe moons of this world. You spend all the money you want in the world, but if they didn't have a strong community out there every day, hitting the hashtags, getting them trending, they wouldn't be where they are. There's individuals that I know within some of those, who really help push it. So we want that sort of impact as well, and we're going to make sure that we build a brand that people are aware of and that they recognize, both paid and organic.
Okay, that sounds great. So I'll open it up to the rest of the team now before we go to the investors. And the team's got a question for MetaBomber.
Yeah, Glenn. Yeah, actually, I've been playing the game while you guys have been talking here, so I got the general idea. Like I know I've played Bomberman when it was first out, and there's certainly a nice audience for retro games like this. But I feel like the value where people seem to miss this kind of thing is not the actual mini game that you play, right? Because I've seen this with, like, say, Candy Crush, right? The game is super simple with Candy Crush. You connect 3 jewels or whatever, and then you go to the next level. Well, yeah, the beauty is in those levels. So with you here, the nice part is the mazes that you can create, right? And the sort of mini routes that you have to plan out and all that. So I was curious, like, do you have someone in the team that's actually looking at I don't know, fun ways of creating these mazes and keeping people engaged with it for a longer period of time? And I know, like, the new levels coming up, but how many levels do you plan, and are they gonna go, like, in difficulty somehow? Are they gonna increase in difficulty and anything like that?
Yeah, so I 100% agree with everything you're saying. But in terms of obviously the difficult, every level is going to get little bit more difficult. And one of the reasons why we've got the various different NFTs with different characteristics, it's going to make those levels easier or harder depending on who you've got. In terms of the styling and the puzzles, should we say, the mazes are going to be different. But I mentioned earlier that we're also going to be bringing out a sort of a series as well, a sort of pixelated, animated cartoon series that's going to tie in with the game. So, as you're watching it and as you're seeing different episodes, different things happening, the things that are going to be sort of synonymous with that, might be an object, might be a style. And as each one, progresses, you're going to notice that you're going to be sort of similarities with the game. So, as I say, in-house, we've got a team of designers who are building it. As I say, the game's built third party, but we're overseeing the project. With NDA, we're not saying until we do the full release who it is, and I mentioned this. The reason why the last thing we want is something to be stopped before it finishes, if you know what I mean, because somebody comes over with a better offer, because this space is so competitive. So yeah, but we in terms of the amount of levels, it's got to be it's going to be a lot. It's got to be fulfilling, and it has to draw the attention, basically.
Yeah, it sounds good. And you've also mentioned you're going to have your own NFT marketplace. Yeah, sure. Maybe at the start people will just be trading some small power-ups or things like that. But what's to say that maybe in the future you can allow people to actually build their own mazes and puzzles and maps, right? And maybe, I don't know, have a revenue share off of people building those. So it's super. Like, there's a lot of ways you can go with this. So that's the exciting part for me. And if you manage to create these kind of token sinks, what I like to call them, like ways for people to engage with the game and then actually spend their earnings in the game just to either progress or, I don't know, get a fancier little Bomberman or anything like that, then you can stabilize the ecosystem, right? You can balance the game so that people are keen on playing it, having fun. Sure, it'll take some profits, but that's not going to be the primary goal, just to play the game and make money. No, it'll just be something fun and something really engaging for people. So I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one thing. I mean, it's later on. It's obviously like stage, 4, of the roadmap. So like the boss fight, but we are looking at doing like an e-commerce supply chain, obviously relative to it. So there's lots of things that you can do with the project, with the idea, and that's one of the reasons why we want that bridge over to ETH, so we can. And we're already obviously looking at partnerships in sort of metaverse. It's going to be competitive, but at the end of the day, sort of GameFi as well. The ones that have been out at the moment, there's some, they've hit good numbers, but we're trying to do it where there's a lot around it. It's not just about obviously the game, obviously with the NFTs, etc. So it isn't just obviously play to earn. So there's going to be a lot of sort of structure, sort of moving forward as well.
Yeah, it sounds super great, and I love that you also thought about sort of a storyline mode, right? Where you progress there and you notice something here, maybe you'll get a short cinematic of something. So as long as it keeps people playing, people engaged, and it's a fun game, then it's gonna be amazing. Yeah.
Awesome, man. Nice one, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Prince has got his hand up. Let's go to community member. Prince, you have a question for MetaMan? Go ahead. Looks like he's jumped out of the room. We've got no hands up, but people have been joining the call while we've been talking, MetaMan. So maybe if we can do a recap over the the MetaBomber project and everything that's coming in the future in the pre-sale, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those who have just jumped in here, obviously we've got this is MetaMan from MetaBomber, and we've got a pre-sale on the 31st of March at 1500 UTC on Pink Sale. It's actually a fair launch pre-sale. So it is open to everyone for 24 hours. So we're not no preferential treatment for anyone on a whitelist or anyone involved in a private sale. We are a sort of NFT and play to earn game. Gaming, we're going to be building onto the blockchain. The demo is already out at the moment. So in terms of being able to actually get a feel for it, it's there for you. So we're not just a hype token. MBOM is a ticker, and obviously we're going to incorporate some of the sort of best utilities, with tokenomics that are going to be designed to reward the community both passively and then through rewards, obviously for playing the P2E game. I mentioned obviously about the NFTs. They're an integral part of obviously MetaBomber, the game, and on release, holders will be able to sort of mint and use the NFTs together with various sort of rarities to earn the native token MBOM, and that's going to be in both story and player versus player mode. So obviously development is well underway. The demo is live for both browser and mobile use. Some of the key features of MetaBomber. So we've got the US dollar reward. So basically just passive rewards taken from buy and sell transaction. There is no sort of minimum threshold for the rewards. Obviously, we just talked about the NFTs and the pay to earn game. We call it the sort of blockbuster experience. But for us, this is the sort of community centric feature, and it's going to enable us to actively engage and reward the community. Obviously, we have lots of competitions, contests, and offer rewards. I mean, we've got a big one at the moment, Shield contest that ends tomorrow. We're giving away $2,000, and not just like the top 1, 2, 3, but the top 30. So you don't have to do much to get involved. You could do a few shields and earn yourself the 20th to 30th prize basically. We have another feature called Auto Water, and this is our auto liquidity pool, and this is going to ensure a stable chart, and obviously a percentage of the transactions will be added to the LP basically. Transaction fees.
If we go actually, if we go back to community questions, we did have questions. It's just that I can't see them on the phone because they don't come to the top of the list. So I think Act is going to unmute people.
Fair enough.
The community member had a question. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so you mentioned about story mode, and it also has a feature called AFK, which will allow the players to play story mode offline. So I was wondering, don't you think in offline mode it will be easy for hackers to tamper with the game? So I want to know, do you have any security mechanism set in place to check the game code when the game is online and to cash out when a player want to cash out?
Yeah, so it will work in the same premise. Obviously, all sort of security and everything, because the game's not been fully released yet, is all being tested at the moment. But in terms of how will it work in terms of the hackers, you're still going to be able to only play it a certain amount of time, so you're limited still, whether it be online or AFK. You can't, obviously while you're in AFK mode, you can't cash out until you go online. But you then the coding is there to know how many attempts you've made, basically, because it's based on a certain amount of lives that you get. And when those lives are depleted, whether you're online or offline, that's it. You can't just continue. You can't just keep going around in circles just because you're not online. So the contract will read how many goes you've had, and then it will obviously nothing can be sort of divvied out as a reward until you are reconnected.
Okay, got it. So moving to my next question, you mentioned about keys that will be required to unlock the heroes to enable to play the game. So I was wondering that while unlocking by buying the key, we'll be able to unlock the character of our own liking, or it will be randomly drawn. Heroes will be randomly drawn.
No, it's going to start off with. It's going to be obviously more. It's going to be the common ones, okay? Because this is one of the things. So whilst we're minting the characters, we're still deciding on the sort of quantity, but everyone's going to start off with a basic character because obviously the NFTs are going to have value and they're going to be showing that they can earn we can't just have 100 M-bomb, which will be like, a cent to, and then go and get the very best. It's not economically right to do it that way. So, everyone's going to start off with a certain character, and that's like anything, like in any sort of story mode, you start off with the default avatar, don't you? Like the basic man, and you want to improve him, and that's all part of the gameplay.
Okay, got it. And will there be any leaderboards for story mode or multiplayer mode?
Yeah, there'll be leaderboards for both versions, basically. So, some people who are progressing on the leaderboard in a story mode, show you what level you're up to, maybe the time it's taken, that have sort of rewards, and that's going to be encouraging. Obviously, if you see someone thinking, "Oh my God, how's he earning that much rewards?" You know why and what character is used. And then on obviously the same again with the PvP. So you're gonna have a reward. So you're gonna have a leaderboard, which potentially we could reward separately as well. That's an encouragement. Something we talked about. If you're winning on the leaderboard, there's an opportunity to earn prizes as well, not just rewards from the native token.
Okay, got it. Really excited about the game. It's look really amazing. Thank you so much.
No problem. No.
Okay, great. And yeah, back to you if you want to mute the next person with a hand up.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute Venice here. Go for it, Venice.
Okay, thank you, Eddie. Actually, I have a few questions to ask from MetaBomber team. So I want to know that do you have any threshold for accumulating some certain trading volume so you can redistribute the USDT rewards to your holders?
Yeah, no, the contract will do it automatically. Nice name, by the way. I've got Antis from Venice in Italy. Nice place. No, it's done automatically through the contract. So, in terms of there's no sort of threshold. We're looking at doing it. Obviously, we're paying a reward every 24 hours. It's sort of done in tranches of how many, investors get sent over from the contract per minute, basically. So yeah.
Okay, and yeah, okay, go on.
No, it's fine. So, like I say, automatic every 24 hours. Money claiming can be done by just doing a transaction. You felt like it got over by a minute, which I know people are going to ask all the time. They're going to, I've been in reward tokens myself, and you're like, 1 minute past 24 hours. Where's my rewards? And I know sometimes people do a transaction, but it isn't going to be necessary to do that. To send it automatically send.
Okay, great. And as there are multiple heroes in the game, I want to know, is it better to use some specific hero for a specific level as compared to using a single hero all the time for all levels? What do you think?
Yeah, listen, that's part of the game. That's what makes it fun. So these are not just skins. You go on you go on a game like Call of Duty, for example, and they've got absolutely loads of different characters, but those characters are only as good as they all do the same thing. Basically, it's the guns that make them better. Where in this instance, it's the actual character's abilities that are stronger. So you might see on the white paper they have like a certain different strength or agility, even vitality, so sort of movement speed, the damage of each bomb, the sort of the length of it. Some of them are going to work better in different scenarios. Some people, will be able to complete, and it might take a lot longer, but be able to do the game with just using the base player, and there will be people who just do that. But it's going to be more advantageous because you're going to earn bigger rewards by doing it with a stronger character, and that's going to be one of the attractions in the NFT marketplace as well. Whoever's got the Mystic, he's going to be doing, or she is going to be having a good time on the game because it's going to be a little bit easier, or even if it's not easier, it's going to be more rewarding.
Okay, and one last question from my side. As you have mentioned that we have multiple characters, and it's better to use specific character for specific situation. So as we will need NFT character to play the game, and if we upgrade the heroes' movement speeds and bombs range too, then will these changes also reflect to the original NFT? I mean, if we sell it to someone, then that NFT character will have that upgraded speed or any changes to the NFT?
They will already, each character, the characters are going to be of a certain rarity level. So they are all, you sort of not upgrading the character is the upgrade, if you know what I mean. So whoever, if you have a value of, let's say you have an NFT of, I don't know, Pikachu, yeah, and he's like one of the characters, okay, and he's valued at $1,000. But by playing with him, you can actually earn, 5 times more than someone on a base character, or even 10 times more. He is already upgraded. That is his value. That is all set already, so you don't have to increase the levels of the character. The character is rare on its own, so he's already actually, he is what he is. If he's an 8 out of 10, he's an 8 out of 10. If there's another character who's only a 3 out of 10, he's a 3 out of 10 for the life of that character. Basically, the levels increase on the game, but the rarity are different for each one. And what they do, if one can throw a bomb further, that's as far as you can throw it, and that doesn't change.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much.
No problem, man.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, we can move on to the next.
We have one more hand from Aisha here. I see. I've unmuted her.
On your white paper, I have read that heroes will have a stamina and it can get depleted, and heroes will be in slumber mode and won't be able to fight, and one will need to recover stamina before fighting. I want to know that how much time will it take her for stamina to fully recover, and is there any way of quickly recovering the stamina of a hero?
No, the likelihood is we're going to look at probably a 24-hour period, and I'll tell you why. One of the reasons, obviously, it's about protecting the chart. It's also remembering, gaming is addictive. You could sit and play it all day long, every day. Problem you got is, if we don't have a limitation on the stamina, what's going to happen is we're just going to be paying out too many rewards. People are going to be selling rewards. It's not healthy, basically. So because it's a place to earn game, we're limiting it. So it will recover over a set period. We're looking at probably like a 24-hour period. There's other games who do it. God, even places like FIFA. FIFA do it. They have like a certain friendly mode where you can only play like 3 a day. And you've got to wait 24 hours because they don't want everyone in the exact same way earning certain rewards too much, if you know what I mean. It's got to, it's just how it, and in our instance, it's a little bit different because we want to make sure they obviously with FIFA, they want people to keep buying packs and to keep rewarding every 5 minutes. People aren't going to spend money. So in our instance, we want to protect, obviously, the chart. So, if enough people are playing it, it has to be set out over a certain period. So we're looking at 24 hours to answer it.
Okay, got it. Okay, another question. Actually, I have read on your white paper that in PvP mode or multiplayer mode, the battles will be free for that they will be free for all battles against each other. I was wondering that how many players will be able to play against each other simultaneously in free for all battle modes.
Yeah, it's a good shout because we think you could actually maximize it. We're looking at the PvP and saying potentially doing up to 4, okay, which is basically that is one player starting in each corner. Basically, that's how we're looking at designing it. Basically, so you've got 4 players and you can all meet in the middle with all your bombs and everything. So it's a potential of doing it in that manner. Basically, that's how we're looking at it on that one.
Okay.
Okay, Aisha.
All
right.
Right. Yeah. So if anyone's listening back to the call, we can always get you safely over to the official MetaBomber Telegram. If you've got any questions after the AMA or you're listening back to the recording, it's been great speaking to Metaman. You come across as a genuine, trustworthy, down to earth guy. You're probably from the north of England like me, so we're a bit more trustworthy. And yeah, the project seems great. The game and yeah, you're a great spokesperson for the project, and I'm looking forward to the fair launch. You're saying so anyone can get involved in that, and there's no hard cap, yeah.
Yeah, correct. Anyone can get involved. Like I say, we want to keep it open to everyone. I don't, not just people. Again, no disrespect for anyone who's listening. There's 404 people listening, but not everyone wants to participate in a whitelist or has the time or is able to compete. So I don't think that's fair. So that's why we're doing a fair launch, basically.
Awesome, yeah. I think we've got Spin the Wheel now. I don't know if Actio or the Dizzle's doing Spin the Wheel. And
yeah. I'll
use wheel.
finish up